Hello everybody, it is Ouroboros Viewer here. I am going to show you all the exotics, what they do, and what I think about them, as well as what build potentials they have. If they have any build potentials at all, I will mention them. If they can't be built, I would just say they are not good at the current moment. So let's start with the weapons. We have the Chameleon. The Chameleon's a good gun. It needs a buff though. So its traits are interesting. The first one is it gives you, after hitting 30 headshots, you get 20% crit chance and 50% crit hit damage for 45 seconds. All the buffs last for 45 seconds, if you can see there. And there's only once per combat, which is the downside of this gun, is they only last for one combat, which is very annoying. In the open world or in missions, this could be pretty good. But in other things, like Countdown, this is kind of annoying. So the first buff is good, but you're already gonna be a max crit chance most likely. You're not gonna need the additional crit chance it gives you, especially when it gives you crit chance on the actual attributes. So you should probably be at max crit chance with this. But the 50% crit damage is nice. It's cursed with low damage, unfortunately. Like, it doesn't have that much damage attributed to it. Because of the second talent, it gives you 90% weapon damage after hitting 75 body shots. Which the problem is, in order to get the best buffs, which is the first two, you need to hit at least 105 shots without missing. So that's 2 magazines and then some, like a little bit of the third. If most likely 3 magazines, because you don't hit every shot. And then, the last talent is kind of whatever, hit 30 leg shots, grant reload speed, eh. It's a decent gun. It's fun to play around with. You can make a lot of builds with this. It does have build potential. You could do a full red one or you could make some interesting builds with it. If you want to see one, I could make one for you guys. It's a fun gun. Eagle Bear. The Eagle Bear is overrated as. It is so overrated, man. Like, it's not that good. It really isn't amazing. Like, so there's two downsides with it. It doesn't have damage to out of cover. It has headshot damage, which isn't amazing. Like, everybody knows damage to out of cover is just the better talent. That's why everybody's using it on their guns. It's just better. Damage to armor is better. It has headshot damage, which is very situational, as in you have to hit a headshot with it to get the extra damage. As well as it has no damage buffing trait. Its trait is only for survivability and accuracy, which isn't that amazing. Everybody knows a trait like insync or opportunistic or status is a better talent. Guns that don't give you any damage bonus need to have great damage on it or something. So I would rather use a Carbine 7 than a Eagle Bear. It's just that much better. Because you have to get a kill in order to get the tenacity buff. It's bad. It's just really overrated. There's a lot of build potential. Any AR build this could fit into easily. You could use a protection from elites build, which would work with this gun, yeah. But that's about it. It's nothing too crazy. Chatterbox. Man, this used to be a good gun. It's not good anymore. It is not good anymore. If I compare it to my Lady Death build right here, since they're both SMGs, you can see like it hits just as hard, if not a little bit harder than the Lady Death. Unfortunately, the Lady Death has damage to armor, which is much better, and it actually amplifies the damage it does by 75% compared to a Chatterbox. The Chatterbox is buff. It only gives it increased fire rate by 20% for enemies within 15 meters. And then you can get 100% fire rate, there's 5 enemies there, and it kills with 50% of your magazine. But that's just, like, really? Like, I'd rather use a Lady Death. It's got 200. It's got 200 more RPM than it does. The Chatterbox used to be good. They enough to damage every too hard though, because it had a lot of killing potential, but now it's just it needs a little love. The blue screen. What the blue screen does is, like, after you shoot somebody 50 times, you use a skill, and depending on how many stacks you have, because it has you have 50 stacks on it, right? So the first 1 to 10 stacks pulses them for 5 seconds, which isn't amazing. Once you get to 11, 25 stacks and then you use a skill, you pulse the target and disrupt them for 5 seconds. That's not amazing. The last two ones are better. So on 26 stacks to 49 stacks, you post, disrupt, or disorient marked targets for 5 seconds. But the 50 stacks the one you want. It posts, disorients all hostiles within 10 meters for 5 seconds. It's good, but it's nothing too crazy. I see what they were doing here. It's kind of like this is being an asshole to the NPCs. Pretty much is what it really is. It doesn't hit too hard and it doesn't kill too fast, so it's alright, I guess. So the Bully King, the build potential for the blue screen. There's a lot of build potential. You can use it with Wicked. Don't let me forget about the builds. Yeah, you could definitely use it with Wicked or status effects stuff. I don't think status effect buffs any of the actual gun bonuses, because it's hard coded to 5 seconds. Bully King. So the Bully King doesn't need a reload. Basically, you can shoot it forever until you run out of bullets. But for every 100 bullets you hit on an enemy, so if you do it perfectly, you don't have to reload ever. Or yeah, well, you don't have to reload, but like if you get your bullets back, and your teammates. So basically, as long as you hit 100 bullets, you get some more ammo, and your teammates get some ammo. You could make LMG builds with this, but I would not recommend it. For a sustained DPS build, yeah. If you whatever if a raid comes out or something where you just need to shoot something forever, this is the gun. If you need to do more damage than just shooting something, use another LMG for sure. The Pestilence. Oh man, the Pestilence is it's quite the gun. So what it does is hits apply a debuff dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. This stacks up to 50 times, so it does like 55,000 weapon damage. Whenever an enemy dies with this debuff, all stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy within 25 meters. This is a very superb gun. The buff lasts a long time and it kills. You could also use this in PvP. This has some PvP potential, mostly in conflict. You see this. You don't really see this in the DZ because it takes too long to shoot. But in conflict, it works pretty well. You can make like 2 LMG builds with this. Like a full DPS or a half blue DPS build. It's very nice. The Lullaby and the Sweet Dreams are both the same gun. It's just if you melee attack a non-elite enemy, it kills them with a 15-second cooldown. You can make a build, but the build wouldn't really be around the Lullaby. It would be a PvE build, but you would use the Lullaby to take out enemies. So this would be nice with a protection from elite build. But you can't. These are not guns you make builds around because it's not meant for builds. The Diamondback. The Diamondback is a very hard hitting gun. It's the hardest hitting rifle in the game. It hits hard and it kills. So its RPM is low and it only has 5 bullets, so you have to reload a lot. But Diamondback randomly marks an enemy. Hitting that enemy consumes the mark, guaranteeing a critical hit with damage amplified by 20%. After a mark After hitting the mark, all shots are guaranteed to be crits for 5 seconds. A new enemy is marked after you reload. So once you get that critical hit and you get that damage amplified, this thing hits hard. You can make a full red build with this, which is definitely the best way to run this. I would recommend a full red. And getting that critical hit and that damage amplification, it works. It hits hard with a glass cannon build with vigilance. This thing just starts melting enemies. So you really want to hit the target that's with the mark because you get that damage amplification. But that's pretty much it. It's nothing too amazing. I wouldn't recommend making a build for it just to run it. I mean, if you want to play like that, of course, but it is people don't use the Diamondback because it's very unstable. If you're gonna make a build with it, maybe some weapon handling would be nice. The Merciless and Ruthless are both the same gun. Again, they both have the same talent. So basically, you know, the weapon fires on trigger pull and release. So basically, it's a two-shot. Is what it's really saying. So if both bullets hit the same enemy, gain a stack. So you have to hit 14 bullets to get the max stacks. At 7 stacks, aka 14 bullets on the same target, shooting an enemy deals 500% amplified damage and creates a 7-meter explosion, dealing 500% weapon damage, consuming the stack. Basically, it's a lot like the Ravenous. If you know how to use the Ravenous, it hits hard with that weapon down amplified explosion, but I don't think it's worth it, really. You know, you could kill something by the time you get that 7 stacks with another gun, you know. But it's definitely an interesting gun to use. They're both very interesting. So the Ravenous is a lot like the Ruthless and the Merciless. So it's on trigger full and fires both barrels at once, you know, type of thing. So, but you don't have to hit both shots. You know, you can hit one shot, but both shots will probably land all the time. So when fired from the right shoulder, aka when you're shooting normally, hits at an offensive primer, and defensive primers when fired from the left shoulder, aka when you soldier switch. Hits from one shoulder will detonate all the opposite soldier's primers when present. So basically, when you swap back and forth, you get the bonuses. That's all it's saying. You shoot them from the right, then you swap to the left, you get the right bonus. If you shoot them from the left, then you swap to the right, you get the right bonus. I mean, the left bonus. When detonated, each offensive primer deals 100% weapon damage, while each defensive primer gives you 4% bonus armor and 10% amplified damage to armor plates. Primer effectiveness is doubled at 10 stacks. So basically at max stacks, you know, you get double the effectiveness. So you want to do it at max stacks is when you want to switch. It's fun to play around with. It does have some build potentials. You can use this for PvP. I've seen it happen. It's not really that good though, because you'll most likely die in a straight up 1v1 fight. Most likely. But I mean, I guess, you know, if you want to troll somebody, you could troll somebody with this easily. Yeah. In PvE, it's very good for taking out dogs, but I wouldn't use it. There is some build potential for this, but I just don't really like it. You know, this is better options in the world, and that's why most of the exotics are not used, because this is better options. The Lady Death. Man, oh man, this is a good gun. The ones in my inventory are probably the best guns in the game because I'm using them. So the Lady Death, right? When moving, gain 4 stacks per second. If sprinting, gain 8. So after rounding for 4 seconds, you get max stacks. Each round fired consumes a stack, amplifying damage by 75%. So it has low damage in comparison to something like the backfire, but it amplifies it, so it kills so much faster because it amplifies everything. This gun is amazing. The best SMG in the game for quick burst DPS. Best one. The backfire isn't really amazing. I just made a build about it that I'm gonna post onto YouTube soon. Dealing damage to an enemy adds a stack of 1% critical hit damage up to 200 stacks. So basically 200 crit hit damage is what it gives you at max stacks. Lasting 10 seconds. They buffed it from 5 seconds because 5 seconds were too little, man. Those 5-second stacks was just gone. On reload, apply a 10-second bleed to yourself, which deals 0.5% armor damage per stack. It's alright. It's a PvE gun, 100% PvE, and there's build potential with it. There's 2 build potentials. I have them, but it isn't amazing. It needs to change the magazine size to something more useful, man. I'll take damage to armor or damage to health, man. To be honest, it needs something better than magazine size because it's not doing it any justice. Capacitor. Best girl. She best girl. But no. So shooting the enemy builds stacks to a cap of 40. So you get 40 stacks total. Each stack gets 1.5 skill damage. After 5 stacks, decay 1 second. So basically you get 60% skill damage at max stacks, is what it's saying. And then for each skill tier, so if you have any skill tier, if you're engineer or technician, you get 7.5 extra weapon damage on it, which makes hybrid builds so good. I made a hybrid build. I posted it onto YouTube. It's a great build because it's at 6 yellows and you can put more red into it. So the capacitors are very good skill gun to still do damage with it. It is very nice. It has this probably has one of the most build potentials. The Bighorn. Man, the Bighorn's so fucking it is hilarious. It is hilarious, man. Like, oh, it has PvE potential, yeah, but it has PvP potential. It is amazing, especially when you're scoped in. Oh man, people just disappear. That single shot melts people. It's hilarious. It's just so good. It's so good. It has a lot of build potential. The Bighorn has build potential as well. So I would recommend trying out the Bighorn if you haven't. So what the Bighorn does is when scoped, switches to a semi-auto fire mode. So it's a single shot. It's a single shot, but it's a semi. It's a semi-single shot. It does 450% damage, weapon damage with each shot. So basically, it's quick damage. Headshots grant 2% headshot damage. Stacks up to 50 times, so you can get 100% headshot damage. Once at full, stacks decay at 10 stacks per second, or every 4 seconds. So, but if you shoot somebody, the stacks refresh. So basically, even you don't have to be in scoped in mode to get the headshot damage. You can just be shooting it like a normal gun because it has 800 RPM. You can shoot it like a normal assault rifle and get headshots and get the headshot damage buff. This thing has a lot of build potential. It is amazing to use. I recommend trying it out. The Scorpio, the best support shotgun in the game at the moment. So what it does is shooting a target applies stacks of venom, which lasts for 10 seconds. Increasing stacks adds more severe debuffs. So it does. When you shoot somebody once, it does poison damage. If you shoot them 3 times, it disorients them. If you shoot them 6 times, it shocks them. And you shoot them 7 times, they all take 20% more damage from every source. And then you can't stack anymore after that. It has to go away. The buff has to go away. The duration of the status effect is based on the percentage of pellets hit on applying the shot. So basically, if you're close range and you hit all your shots, you get the full benefit, but if you're shooting them from far away, you're gonna miss some pellets, and it's gonna not shock them for as long. This is amazing against hunters. It's amazing in countdown. It's amazing in missions. It is nice. It's a very good gun. This is definitely a must need for every player. Must need. Dreadic. This is a good sniper rifle. It's not the best, you know, but the talent of it is actually a good talent. If they gave it some more stability, it would be an amazing gun. But it's pretty stable with a sharpshooter, but not with other builds. So shooting enemies build a stack of 20, so 20 stacks. Headshots grant 2 stacks. Body shots grant 1. Okay. Each stack is 2% weapon damage and 5% headshot damage. So at max stats, this will make it a good gun. You get 40% weapon damage and 100% headshot damage. That is nice. On reload, clear all stacks and gain 5% of your armor as temporary armor for 10 seconds for each stack removed. So you could get 100% of your armor as bonus armor, but that's not the point of it. You don't want to reload with this gun. Headshot kills with a Dreadic restores all bullets in the magazine. So basically, if you just kill somebody on the head, you keep all the damage and you can keep going. You do not want to reload with this gun. This gun is not meant to be reloaded. It's meant to get your stacks, keep killing with headshots, and move on. It is an amazing gun. There's a lot of build potential. I just posted a video not too long ago about it. It is good. It's not amazing, but it's good. The Mantis. I have a build with the Mantis. Unfortunately, the headshot damage isn't maxed, but the Mantis is a very good gun. It has the same build potential as the Dreadic. You could use it in the same build as the one I posted for it, but it's not maxed out at the moment. It is a great gun. It also has PvP potential, which is amazing. You could use this. So what's unique about it though is it's meant to be used with a decoy. This is the first gun that's meant to use with a skill. So your scope view displays additional information about enemies not targeting you. Basically, to sum it up, if you're scoped in, and some guy's gonna have a square on his head, and that means he's not looking at you. If he doesn't have a square, that means he's looking at you, and you should probably duck. This gun's amazing for avoiding damage. So I've learned that if they don't have squares on their head, you should duck because you're about to get shot. It's very unique. It's a very unique gun. But let's continue. Headshots and weak point damage against enemies not targeting you is amplified for 15%. So basically, if you hit one of the weak spots, or you hit a headshot and they're not shooting at you, you get 50% amplified damage to it, which is a lot of damage. Headshot kills reset the cooldown of the decoy skill. This bonus will wait until the decoy goes on cooldown if currently active. So basically, you can get your decoy back if it's on cooldown, as long as you kill somebody with a headshot. Or if you threw it out, which is the normal situation, and then you get a headshot kill on somebody, there's no cooldown for the decoy. It's come back instantly, which is very unique about this gun. It is very fun to play with. It has so much PvE potential. It has a little bit of PvP potential. Nemesis. Oh my god. If it's not good because it's level 20 in my inventory, I don't know what to tell you. So this is the hardest hitting sniper rifle in the game. Shots fired deal 0 to 100% weapon damage based on how long the trigger is held. So basically you have to hold it down for 2 seconds to get 100% weapon damage. But the weapon damage on this thing is so damn high, man. You could one-shot somebody with this in the head every single time. Even if you're full blue, as long as you have crit chance, crit damage, or some headshot damage on it, you're definitely going to be one-shotting people. It is too good of a gun. It is amazing. Build potential? I would say both PvE and PvP. Definitely stronger in PvP. You can't use it in PvE, but the damage on is high. You would definitely be one-shotting everything in PvE with this gun in the head. But it takes a long time, so you might as well use like the Mantis or something else. Okay. So let's go into the mask. So we have the Coyotes Mask. Best mask. I would say this is way better than Colossus. Now, some people are gonna be like, "This is slander. This is blasphemy." There's no way it's better than those are catharsis backseaters, man. That's what they really are. So catharsis is a good mask. Coyotes Mask is just superior. It's literally just superior. So, in a situation, right? So, if you had two teams about the same skill level, and four of them had the Catharsis Mask on one team, and three had a Catharsis Mask on the other team, but one had a Coyotes Mask, the team with the Coyotes Mask would always win. As long as they were both the same skill level, the Coyotes Mask team will win more often than not. That's because the Coyotes Mask is not a selfish mask to use. I said it, selfish. Because people use Catharsis Mask are selfish people. So, it is a good mask. Catharsis Mask is a good mask, don't get me wrong. But you need at least one person on your team running Coyotes in PvP. If you're not running Coyotes Mask on a full team, you're wrong. You need the team buffs. This is a team game. Unfortunately, yes, it's a team game. It is a team game. God damn it. Alright, so enough of that. So Pack Instinct. You and our allies gain a damage, a bonus based on the distance of the enemy you hit last. Personally, whoever's wearing the Coyotes Mask, however far he shoots somebody, he gets a certain buff. The first buff is the best one. The second buff is the second best. The third one is whatever. So point blank or to 50 meters, you get 25% critical hit damage. It's not just you though. You and your whole team get 25% crit hit damage, which is amazing. That's an amazing damage boost. It's better than running Grupo. If you're running Grupo on your build and no exotics, you should always put on the Coyotes Mask. This thing has the most build potential for the mask in the game. If you're running Grupo, don't. If you're running 2-piece Solarkov, don't. Coyotes Mask. Straight better. The second buff is very good. I also like the second buff. It's also one of my favorites. Enemies 15 to 25 meters away get 10% critical hit damage and 10% critical hit chance. So if you have 50% critical hit chance and you're using an AR or a rifle, anything, you get max crit chance and you get a little crit hit damage on it, which is perfect. That's why I like this buff, because not everybody's always at 60%. Sometimes it's at 56, 55, 54. This gets into 60% and the damage goes higher. It's basically, it could be a bigger damage boost than the first one. Even though 25% critical hit damage is better, having max crit chance and your team is having max crit chance is significantly better. The third one, it just gets into max crit chance and gives them no crit hit damage, which is still good for situations where not everybody's at 60%. It will give them a damage increase. It's objectively all these buffs are damage increase as long as they're not at max crit chance. Amazing mask, bunch of build potential. A team with somebody wearing the Coyotes Mask will probably be a team not wearing it. The Vile Mask. Both a PvE and a PvP mask. Not really a PvP mask, it's mostly meant for PvE. Most people run this with an EMP jammer and just annoy the shit out of people because they cannot heal. So status effects apply a debuff of damage over time for 10 seconds. Total damage is dealt is equal to 50% of your concussion grenade, and it's increased by your status effect attribute. So it's nothing too crazy. Like, it won't kill anybody by itself really, unless they just stand there and let you EMP post them forever. But it is a good mask. In PvE, it's the best one. In PvE, for like a skill-based build, like System Eclipse, this is an amazing one to use. It has build potential. Mostly with Eclipse Protocol, it's probably the most used build potential it has. So, Catharsis Mask. This is a good mask, but let me take a drink real quick. So, taking damage builds a stack to a cap of 30. Each stack grants 1% weapon damage. Taking damage at max stance triggers a purge, removing all stacks and status effects. Then dropping a healing cloud, which restores 5% of max armor for 10 seconds, so all allies in the cloud. So this is a good mask. It is mostly a PvP mask, but it's also good in PvE. So what it does is people say it's amazing because the damage of it. But you gotta understand it's a revolving door, right? It's you take some damage and it purges and you go back to zero. Everybody's like, oh, but you got 20%, 29% weapon damage. That's not always gonna be the case. That's not how that works. I reset people because your enemy could see how much cycle you have. They see on top of your name tag that little broken shield emblem, and they have the bar underneath it. If I see somebody at max stacks, I'm going to shoot them 5 times, 3 times, make them reset, go back to zero. They lose all the damage. That's the problem with this mask. It's a great mask. If you're playing against a good player, he's going to abuse the fact that you're using the mask. He's going to shoot you, reset you to zero. Then he's going to reload. He's going to do whatever he needs. He's going to go around the corner to medkit because you lose a lot of damage. If I see somebody at low stacks and he's reloading, I'm going to leave him alone and go for his teammate. It's just how it is. If you play against a smart player, this mask is not going to be good. It is an amazing mask for PvP though, because like against people who just shoot wildly and do whatever the hell they're doing, it is a good mask to use against them. Also good for a team fight. Unfortunately, it doesn't give like the current mask. It gives people buffs. The Gadassus only gives you a buff, and it heals them in the cloud. But if you're in the cloud, you're basically a sitting duck. It has a lot of build potential in PvP. In PvE, it doesn't have so much build potential. You could definitely use this mask in PvE. It would still be very good. Alright, to the backpacks. The Memento is an amazing backpack. It has a lot of build potential. So this one's a little complicated to say. So basically, when you kill somebody, well, the first part says when you kill somebody, it gives you 2 buffs. One that's only lasts for 5 seconds. The other one lasts for 6 minutes. So if you kill somebody and it's gonna drop like a trophy, and you gotta go pick it up, it's gonna be an orange thing on the ground. So depending on how much core attributes you have, you see how this one's red. So you see how it's 15% weapon damage on the top where it says core attribute, and right there is 170,000, which is blue. Those are the core attributes. So depending on how much red, yellow, and blue you have, it gives you different buffs. You get one of each because you're in the backpack itself. So if you have 6 red, you get 30% weapon damage when you pick up a trophy for 5 seconds, or like 5 or 10 seconds. I think it's 10 seconds, yeah. 10 seconds, it says right there. And that's a lot of damage for like those couple seconds. It also gives you 10% bonus armor, 5% skill efficiency. Depending on how much attributes you have of that core, it gives you that bonus for those 10 seconds, which is very nice. And it keeps you alive a lot. The second part of it is the best part, in my opinion, though. For every trophy collected, gain an additional 1% weapon damage, 1% skill efficiency, and 0.1% armor regeneration for 300 seconds. And then with a stack of 30. So you can have 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen for 30 seconds, 300 seconds, which is 6 minutes. That is an amazing buff. Amazing buffs. Oh wait, I think it's 5 minutes. Yeah, it's 5 minutes. It is good. It is really, really good. So if you're at max stacks and you pick up another trophy, and you're fully red, we'll just say you're fully red, you get the 30% passive buff from the trophies. It's just passive, and then you pick up the backpack, and you're at it's 6 times 5, which is an extra 30%. So you get 60% weapon damage for those 10 seconds. So you basically get an extra 30% after your max stacks, which is a lot of damage. This is an amazing backpack. It doesn't have any attributes, but it has a mount slot. So that's the one downside about this build, because about this backpack is it has no attributes, and it's not amazing at no stacks. Because if you have no stacks, it's less damage than a backpack with vigilance, or a backpack. It's the same damage or with a backpack with companion, but you're missing the crit chance crit damage on it. But it's a good backpack. The other exotic backpack would be the coaster go bag. This thing is it's good. Its build potential is low, unfortunately. So it has every single skill talent attribute. So it has 12% skill haste, it has 10 skill damage, it's got 10 repair skills, it has 10 status effects. So it has every single thing. The repair skill is at 10%, which is it's not 20. I don't know why, but every single yellow thing it has. And what it does, it gives you an extra armor kit, 3 grenades, and 25% ammo capacity from the 2 in the bag. One in the hand though is throwing a grenade refunds it. So basically you have infinite grenades. Grants 1 skill tier. If you are 5, you go to 6. But if you are 6, which is what you're meant to use it with, you get overcharge on a 60-second cooldown. And overcharge with skills is amazing in PvE. So you could always overcharge yourself with this backpack in PvE. Very good. Overcharging the backpack can be better than combined arms and shotgun R if you try to kill somebody very quickly. It has low build potential. It's a good backpack. It needs a little love, if anything. There needs to be another reason to use it besides overcharging. Now the gloves. So there are 2 gloves in the game. There are the Bloody Knuckles, which just came out. So damaging an enemy with a grenade or punching somebody activates the talent. Seeing red grants weapon damage, and 25% weapon damage and 100% melee damage. Isn't amazing. The melee damage isn't amazing, but the 25% weapon damage is a lot for a glove to give you something like that. That is amazing. Seeing red lasts 20 seconds and has a 60-second cooldown. While it's in cooldown, you could punch somebody or hit them with a grenade again to take it off cooldown instantly, and punch somebody again or hit them with another grenade or the same grenade if it's a fire grenade or something, and it activates again. So you could keep this buff forever, but you have to keep punching people, which is most likely what you're gonna be doing, or you're gonna have to grenade them. Very great glove, a lot of build potential. The damage, 25% weapon damage is amazing. BTSU gloves. So BTSU gloves grant 15% skill haste for the hive specifically per skill tier. So if you have a hive and you're at skill tier 6, it has 75% skill haste. Which, wait, no. You have 90% skill haste, which is amazing. That's a lot of skill haste for just the glove existing. That's a lot. The second buff is amazing. Detonating a hive refreshes your skill cooldown, grants overcharge for 15 seconds. If at skill tier 6, which you should be, your teammates also get overcharge. And that's an amazing buff. So allies receiving this effect are unable to benefit from it for another 2 minutes, 120 seconds. But that is an amazing buff. This has a lot of build potential. Mostly, you could use this offensively, and defensively. Also a healing build. This glove is nice. Both gloves are nice in this game. They did them well. This works really good with a healing build, and it also works very nicely with a damage build. So Sawyer's Kneepad. I can't find my Ninja Kneepads. I don't know where the fuck they went. So these things are great. They're not really used heavily, but these things are good. So you cannot be staggered by explosions, which is amazing. It is amazing. Increase total weapon damage by 3% each second you are not moving. Stacks up to 10 seconds until you stop moving. All stacks last at the 10 seconds after moving. So the best way to show it to you is by actually doing it. So I'm going to show you with a DPS build. So what happens is, let me do this. So I'm aiming for 807 like this with foxes. But if I put my Sawyer's Kneepad on, I'm going to hit less. It's 760. So I lose 100,000 damage. I lose 100,000 damage. But at full stacks, I gain 20,000. You see it right there on the bottom right there? Because I'm standing still, the buff stays. And I get extra damage. I hit harder than I do with the Fox's Prayers. I don't have to be in cover, I just have to be standing still. So what it gives me is, it gives me 3% each second, but what it gives me is 30% weapon damage. And I can't be staggered. This is amazing for tank builds or for a PvE. So if I stop moving though, the buff is gone. It's the buff's gone, but I'm getting damage now. So I hit less. Now you see the damage slowly going up. So this is amazing for staying in cover and just, you know, doing your thing in cover. If you stand still like this, you get the buff. You can look around, you can do your thing, but you can't move. You know, so it's very good for like camping somewhere. It's a very good Kneepad. As you can see, it hits harder than the Fox's Prayers, which is nice. It's a good substitute, but it requires a certain playstyle. It has a lot of build potential. Just people don't really use it. I don't know why. I'm going to make a video about it, but it's not very used. Okay, so next we're going to look at Ninja Kneepads. So Ninja Kneepads are a interesting kneepads. I know you can't see it right now, but I can't find mine. I don't know what the fuck they went. So Ninja Kneepads, what they do is if you vote over something, it reloads your magazine. You know, so if you do parkour, is what the talent's called. It reloads all your guns. Well, it reloads your gun, but it also gives you 30% of your armor as bonus armor, which is pretty nice. You know, it keeps you alive while you're voting. I know you can't see it. That's on me. I just can't find it. I don't know where it went. Now let's take a look at the hostess. So you have 3 hostess. You have Gunslinger. So with this one's very used with pistol builds and the regulars. So with this thing, while your pistol is hosted, aka when you're using another gun besides your pistol, it gains a stack for every 0.3 seconds up to 100. So basically after 33 seconds is where it equates to. After 33 seconds, you get all your stacks. When you swap to it, your first shot consumes the buff and deals 10% damage per stack. So it does like 10,000 damage. Like it does a lot of damage. And this deals headshot damage to anywhere you hit. So if you shoot them in the leg, it does headshot damage. This thing's amazing for one-shot NPCs like the boss or farming the summit. The floor 10, amazing with the regulars. It has a little build potential. It's only meant for pistol, so it doesn't have that much build potential. It's a good one. If you don't have a build with it, I recommend using it. The Imperial Dynasty. Man, this used to be so broken in PvP, man. Oh man, this used to be broken. It is not so broken anymore. But while in combat, applies burn to the enemy closest to you within 20 meters. It has a 35-second cooldown. So they nerfed it to the ground. But this thing was broken and it was disgusting. I hated it. This is all you saw in PvP back in the day when it wasn't broken, because it would just always be on fire and nobody could fight each other. It has no build potential. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. No build potential. Yeah. Waveform. Amazing hosting. I love it. Generate a 3% skill damage stack on one of your skills every second, capping at 10. So at 30% skill damage, after 10 seconds, it switches from one skill to another. So it goes back and forth forever. Once so basically in the first 10 seconds of combat, or not even in combat, as soon as you put it on, it gives you a stack and it switches back and forth, back and forth. So you want to be using skills that are permanent. It's a very good thing. If you're using the skill build, I recommend using this. It's very good. Very, very good. A lot of build potential there. Okay, so we went through everything here. We went through the weapons. Now let's take a look at the pistols. So there are 3 pistols in this game. There's a busy little bee. This thing is broken. So each shot to a different target gives you 1 stack, up to 10. So each stack will give you 20% weapon damage at max stacks, which is very rare. I don't think you ever be at max stacks. You get 200% weapon damage for 10 seconds. So basically, you get your stacks with this gun, and then as soon as you switch, is when the timer starts. And for those, you get 10 seconds of the buff. So if you shoot one person, you get 20% weapon damage. If you shoot 2 people, you get 40% weapon damage. So it's just an amazing pistol to go meek, shoot somebody a couple times, then switch to your main gun and melt NPCs or people. This is amazing in PvP, man. Like you turn a corner, you shoot a couple people, then you switch to your main gun and you just melt. It is ridiculous. It is broken. It is 20% is too high. It should be 10%. But yeah, it is broken. The Liberty hits grant. So this isn't. You don't really build for it, but it could go on almost any build because extra weapon damage. Almost any build. Apparently, it also works with skills, which is broken. I don't think it's meant to work with skills. They might fix that, so be wary. The Liberty hits grant 2% weapon damage, stacks into 30 times. So you could get about 60% weapon damage at max stacks, but headshots consume all your stacks, repairing your shield for 3% per stack. So yeah, I the second part kind of ruins it, but if you just get body shots with this thing, it is amazing. It also has damage to cover, which is amazing for it. It's a good gun. It has some build potential, but it's very unstable. Very unstable. It's got bad weapon handling. The Regulus. Headshot kills create a 5-meter explosion, dealing 400% weapon damage and applying bleed to all enemies. Great gun. It's amazing for floor 10 in the tower. It is very good. It's got headshot damage, which is okay, I guess. You know, it's meant to be used with headshots, so it makes sense. It is a good gun. I like it. It's kind of unstable. Not really though, but it just moves a little bit. Nothing too crazy. It's very stable compared to the Liberty. And I think that covers all the guns and the gear sets. That was a lot of me rambling. That was a lot of rambling. Let me double check though. Ravenous, yes, yes. Talked about all these. Talked about all of these. Yep, yep. Oh, Richard's Pride. I missed the chest plates. I missed the chest plates. Chest plates, chest plates. So you have two chest plates. You have Richard's Pride, which shooting an enemy within 15 meters applies bleed to the target. Repair 3 to 48% of your armor per second for every enemy bleeding within 15 meters. Repair strength per enemy of bleeding enemies is 3%, 6%, 12%, 24%, and 48% for 1 to 5 respectively. You're never gonna be at 5 stacks. I hate to tell you, unless you're gonna spray and pray like like in a movie, like Me and My Little Friend scene, where you just start spraying left and right and don't kill anybody to get that 48%. It's very unlikely you're gonna be at 40%. The most you're gonna be is at 12%. Is what really happens. It's unique. I feel like they should buff the beginning part where 1 is 60%, 2 is 12%, and or like 1 is 5%, 2 is 10%, 3 is 15. It needs a little bit more buff because you can't really survive with this. People use this in PvP and they die all the time. It's not amazing. It has some build potential, not that much build potential. I recommend using something else. Use something better. I don't know, man. Just not this chest plate. This chest plate is good in PvE, not in PvP. You see somebody running this in PvP, put on a hazard build. Mess the day up. But yeah, it's decent. It's decent. Now, the tardigrade chest plate. So whenever you or your allies armor breaks, so whenever you get broken, gain 80% of your armor back for 10 seconds as bonus armor. And it also applies to the allies. So you want this with tank builds. Really is what you really want this with. It's like a tank build. Killing an enemy with your specialization removes this cooldown for you and all your allies. I think it's only allies, I guess. But you don't really do that, to be honest. Amazing chestplate. Amazing in PvE. Amazing in PvP. This keeps your teammates alive in PvP a lot of the time. Because it's not 80%, it's 40% in PvP. But if you have 2 million armor and you break somebody, they get 880,000 armor back. Which is very annoying. Very annoying in PvP. It keeps people alive a lot. Great chest plate. Small build potential because you mostly want it for tank builds. But that's all the exotics and how you should use them, and if they have build potentials, and if they have builds you should use. Yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I have a Discord. I want you guys to join it. Ask me questions because I'm surprised nobody has questions about all my videos. I must be explaining it amazingly. I also have a Twitch. I would like some support on Twitch. I'm going to start streaming a lot more often and making builds and stuff for people. I also appreciate everybody who's watching. If you made it to this end of this video, I know it's been a long video. I appreciate you guys for watching as much as you could of it. I appreciate it, really, I do. And thanks everybody for watching. Have a good time building out there.